What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Jared Hamilton. Now, before we get into the video, once again, be sure to subscribe. That way you know every time a new video comes out. I'm finally back in the rhythm of making consistent content now here. So if you haven't subscribed already, it would mean a ton to me. This is the supplement video. We're gonna get into a little bit all over the place about certain supplements. We're gonna talk about the supplements that I personally take, basically a whole bunch of supplement talk. One of the styles of questions I've been getting a whole lot lately have been just supplement questions, like what I take, what do I think about this supplement, what do I think about that supplement, well, how to know if supplements are good or not, when do you use supplements, all these kinds of things. So I thought I would make one big video about it. Here's the biggest thing when it comes to supplements. This is the thing everyone forgets about. You don't need them. Truly, you don't need supplements. That's why they're called supplements. They are to supplement, not be the main thing in your diet. Don't get me wrong, there are all sorts of times supplements are suggested, they're extremely appropriate and very helpful, but depending on the questions you're asking, depending on where your intention is at, you may either love this video or hate this video, because the truth is you don't need supplements. Supplements are not this big, revolutionary, game-changing thing. Like, I promise the solution to your problems are not found in a cave hidden somewhere where this rare supplement extract that no one's heard of is awaiting you. It's not that kind of thing. There are all sorts of cases where supplements will absolutely help you, but they're not a have to, and they are not like a big make or break thing. Because the truth is, unless you have your ducks in a row with all the fundamental stuff, they are really not gonna help you. What I mean by that is unless your nutrition is in check, unless your training is in check, unless your mindset and emotions are in check, supplements just aren't gonna do a whole lot for you. For example, so many people are like, what's the best fat burner? What pill can I take to burn fat? Well, if you're not in a calorie deficit, it doesn't matter what pills you take to help you lose fat, it's not gonna do anything. That's why when it comes to this, we have to have our priorities straight, our perspective in check, and our understanding about all this stuff in line. Think of it this way, think about you having a car. Let's say you have a car and you wanna soup it up, you wanna supercharge it, you wanna do all this cool, crazy stuff to it to make it really fast and really powerful. But the tires are trash. You don't keep the fluids changed. It's almost out of gas. It's out of alignment and it needs new brake pads. But you're like, nah, let's not do that stuff. I want to put a supercharged engine in it. I want to put a spoiler on it. I want to put a new exhaust on it. And it's like, well, hang on a second. You can do that stuff, but if your alignment's not in check, your gas isn't in the tank, the tires aren't good, the brakes aren't there, none of that's gonna matter. Supplements is the same way. They can be helpful. They can be extremely appropriate and extremely effective. But if your fundamental stuff isn't in check, they're gonna be worthless. So if you have no idea how to get your other stuff in check, like let's say you're like, oh wow, Jared, my nutrition's not in check, my training's not in check, and my mindset's all over the place, then I would do this. Let's pause on the supplement stuff. And in the description, I have my free fat loss course that will guide you through the ABCs of fat loss, like how to get your nutrition in check, what kind of workouts you should be doing, how to get your headspace in check. Start there and then come back to the supplements, and then we can talk about that later. But for those of you who are watching this who are like, okay, my training's in check, my nutrition's in check, my headspace is in check, what else can I do? I'm curious about these things. Let's get into specifics around supplements. Let's start off with talking about what I personally take. First on the list is I take protein powder. I take specifically Formula 1 by First Form. The reason protein is number one for me is because we all know that when it comes to any goal, getting stronger, feeling better, getting healthier, or weight loss, your protein intake has to be up. I mean, everything in your body is made up of protein, right? Hair, skin, nails, muscles, everything is made up of protein. A high protein intake is one of the one consistent things every opinion out there will agree on is like, yeah, everyone needs to have an adequate amount of protein. Here's the thing, protein, like getting chicken, beef, fish, things like that all the time isn't very convenient, and most people are on the go, so having a protein shake or protein powder on hand is really helpful. Because also, if you're newer to this game of fitness and weight loss, a lot of times getting 100, 150, 175 grams of protein in a day is really hard. So a lot of times, that's when a shake can come in handy. I personally either take my shake if I can't have a meal and I need to eat, but I'm just on the go, or after my workout. We all know that after a workout's over, it can be really beneficial to have a dose of protein to really help the recovery process start. Now, don't take that to an extreme. I'm not talking about that 30-minute anabolic window bullshit. I'm talking about it's relatively a good idea after your workout's over to have a meal within the next hour, I would say, to just help you start refueling and recovering. But then the foundation of every single meal, in my opinion, is protein. Not necessarily even a protein powder, protein as like a food source, like chicken or beef or fish, or protein powder. So it's just one of those things where some people have a really hard time getting their protein intake in, and our lives are always crazy on the go. So protein powder is my number one. So my number two is creatine. Just basic creatine monohydrate. What's funny is creatine is probably one of the questions I get asked about most. I take First Form's creatine, but here's the thing with creatine. Creatine is literally the most studied supplement on the market. It's unbelievably safe, and it's also not exciting or sexy at all. And it's one of the ones that has been proven to help with things like performance, with recovery and things like that. Usually creatine comes in like an unflavored 5-gram scoop, where you just, for most people, 5 to 10 grams a day at some point throughout the day is all you need to get your creatine stores saturated. Because basically, the reason I take it is because recovery is usually a big issue for me. I don't sleep the best. I'm working on it, but my sleep is just consistently kind of a little all over the place. But between my normal workouts and jiu-jitsu, my recovery just is not very good. So anything I can do to get my recovery in place from a muscle standpoint is a big deal for me. So when you take creatine, it does a few things. Number one, it helps your energy expenditure when you go to actually perform exercise. But then also it helps you recover, because what creatine does is it brings water into the muscle cell specifically. So you will gain some water weight with it normally, but it's gonna do nothing but help you. A lot of people go, well, Jared, my goal is fat loss. Can it help me? Well, the question is, should you be recovering for fat loss? Should you be recovering as best as you can? And the answer is yes. So do you have to take creatine? Absolutely not. But there's this misconception that people who are wanting to lose weight shouldn't take creatine, or women should not take creatine, but that couldn't be further from the truth. It is totally fine to do. It's just gonna help you recover more. Just be aware that you're literally drawing water into the muscle cell, which means that the scale is more than likely going to elevate, or you're going to be consistently a little bit heavier. But again, weight does not equate to fat. And if you have recovery issues, you might consider it. And the nice thing is, it usually comes in like an unflavored powder, so you just throw it in with like your protein, and it's really convenient. The other cool thing with creatine is it's almost free. Creatine is not an expensive product to make. So it's like I think First Form sells this for like, I don't know, like $35 or something like that, but it's 100 servings. That's insane. That's like 100 workouts. It's crazy. So in general, you should not be paying a lot for creatine, just because creatine is a really affordable product. Like I said, it's almost free. But yeah, and a lot of times you can stack your post-workout shake and creatine together, and your recovery is going to be a lot better. Next is pre-workout. I take First Form's pre-workout. The double-edged sword is pre-workout. I personally take pre-workout because I do morning workouts, and I don't like doing morning workouts, but it's what's best for my schedule, and I like a kick in the ass when it comes to my workouts. Here's the thing, is you don't have to take a pre-workout by any means. All a pre-workout does is gonna give you some caffeine, if you have a caffeinated one, like this one's caffeinated. But then it also has some stuff in there to help with like blood flow and some muscle cell dilation and things like that. But it's not a must. Like, you don't even have to like take like a pre-workout. I know a ton of people who like to have just coffee before their workout, or likes to have tea before their workout that has a little bit of caffeine in it. So you don't have to go straight to like a big Mac Daddy pre-workout that's literally gonna kick you in the ass. If you're like me and kind of a freak and into that, then cool, you might get like a bigger pre-workout. But if you've never had a pre-workout before, I would not necessarily start with like a big boy pre-workout. I would start with like something like coffee right before your workouts, and go from there. And then if you want something a little bit more intense, then you might think about like an actual pre-workout. Next, I take joint stuff. Let me grab it. So there's a joint stack that I take. I basically take First Form's joint mobility with fish oil. Like, one of the best things you can do as like maintenance for your joints is taking a really healthy, good quality fish oil. So I take that, but then I also take First Form's joint mobility product. To be honest, I was so desperate to find a joint product that it was getting bad. I was so desperate to find one, and I could not believe when I first started taking this one. The thing is, so my joints, I'm what doctors call hypermobile. So I'm very prone to injuries. It basically means I'm too mobile. It's like, mobility is awesome, but I am so mobile that like I get injured. It's what caused me to blow my meniscus, is my joints are too mobile, and my doctor basically says you have loose joints because you're one of those hypermobile freaks. So cool. But then also, between normal strength training, I have some weird stuff going on. Like, I'm hypermobile, but then I have stuff like a crooked collarbone. Like literally from like birth, my collarbone's crooked. So I have all sorts of shoulder problems. But then I happen to love doing jujitsu, and jujitsu is nothing but getting your joints torqued and yanked and thrown around on. So as a whole, my joints don't feel the greatest. One of the absolute musts in my day-to-day is keeping up on my joint stuff, because I don't want to just take pain reliever every day, right? I don't want to just take Advil or Tylenol every day for my joint pain, because number one, it doesn't fix the problem. It's just hides it with a pain reliever, versus something like something more natural, like a joint health compound is going to help in a more natural way with things like inflammation, which then inadvertently helps with pain without having to use something like Advil. So that's why I take this, and I'm not bullshitting at all. I was shocked when I started taking it. Usually things like this that are a little bit more natural than like Advil are gonna take a while to hit and kick in to notice the difference. I could feel this already kicking in, and my joints felt so much better within less than a month of when I started taking this. That was just my personal experience. So taking this stacked with a fish oil, and First Form also makes a really good fish oil, is a big one for me personally. And then the last thing I take that's not really considered a supplement, but it comes from supplement companies, is protein bars. So the thing with protein bars is most protein bars come from supplement companies versus like food companies. So I threw it in here. And consequently, these are First Form protein bars, and I'm not kidding, my favorite and the most tasting bar I've ever had. The thing with protein bars that you have to watch out for is a lot of times they're just beefed up candy bars, right? They're crazy high calories, so much sugar, and not very much protein. Like that's a big commonality with these. In my opinion, the majority of your protein in food should be coming from whole, real foods, not supplements, like protein powders or protein bars. I don't know about you, but for me, there are times I am on the go, my schedule's unpredictable, I forget to eat, and sometimes I'm running out that damn door and I just throw one of these in my bag, eat it on the way to wherever I'm going. So the thing that I like about these, the First Form bars, is number one, they actually taste good. They don't taste like ass. They don't have that weird chalky taste. But then the numbers are actually pretty in check, because like I said, a lot of protein bars are just full-blown candy bars that have some protein, versus these are like 260 calories and they have 20 grams of protein and they taste awesome. Again, it's a no-brainer. But otherwise, that's all I take. Like, I know that may have sounded like a lot, but I'm not a big supplement guy. Like, you guys have followed me for long enough that you guys know I'm not a big supplement guy. The only reason I'm making this video is because a ton of people have been asking me about supplements lately. But that's the thing, is that's not to say they don't have their time and place. They can be important, but you have to have your other shit in check first before you even consider getting supplements. Let me just say this too. I love First Form for a lot of different reasons, but it's very uncommon. I find one company who I want to take all of the products from them that I like a protein powder, like a joint compound, like a creatine, like a pre-workout. In years past, I would like, well, I like this company's pre-workout, but I like this company's protein powder, but I like this company's protein bars, but I like this company's creatine. The more that I've gotten to know First Form over the years and going through their products, it's pretty awesome that from one company I can find everything I need. That's just not as common, at least for me. But also, segue to this, so because of how much I love First Form and how much I love the company, what they stand for, and the quality of their products, I have actually partnered with them. So I just want to be fully transparent with you on that. To be honest with you, I've never really partnered with any supplement companies before, because the supplement space can be such a touchy, spammy space. But even though, with that being said, there are amazing companies in that space, like First Form. First Form will tell you themselves that, like, hey, supplements aren't needed. You have to have all your shit in check first before you need supplements. I've actually been a really big fan of First Form for a really long time, as well as just the company as a whole and their CEO, Andy Frisella. So ironically, what's funny is I have actually been in Andy Frisella, the CEO of First Form. I've been in his like entrepreneurship group for since like 2018, 2019. And I've gotten to know not only him so much better through that group, but really how he built the company of First Form. And that's just made me love the company even more, in what they stand for, what they're trying to do, and the ethics and integrity and core values that they operate with, which is why I am completely comfortable and confident tying myself to them, where I'm saying, hey, I'm partnering with them. What's funny is I have a lot of companies reach out to me. To be honest, in the past month or so, I've had like I had like recently like 4 A+ companies reach out to me and want to collaborate and want to partner with me. Not just like, hey, push our product, but like, hey, we want to do like some big stuff with you. First Form was one of those, but I had like I said, 3 other companies, including First Form, recently reach out and they're like, we want to work with you. And it was crazy because these weren't like bullshit companies. I won't mention the other companies right now, but they were A+ companies. They were not like these little bullshit things that are in someone's basement. They were like big deal companies, which was very humbling and which was awesome to feel as all these companies wanted to work with me, but it didn't quite feel right. So to be honest, when First Form reached out to me about wanting to collaborate and wanting to partner together, it was a no-brainer, just because of I know what the company stands for, I know who founded it and runs it, and I believe in the mission, the product, what they stand for, so it was a no-brainer. And here's the other thing too, let me just say this, by no means feel pressured to buy. Like, you could totally take what I'm talking about in this video about how to know what's a good supplement, what supplements I take, and go buy from whoever you want. I don't care. I never want you guys to ever feel like pressured to buy, whether buy my coaching, buy my courses and things like that, or buy stuff that I represent like First Form or my other company I represent, Flex Pro Meals, or like t-shirts. I don't want you guys ever to feel like, fuck, I have to buy, but I'm just putting this out there. So I just want to be transparent with you and open and honest with you. I'm just trying to help you and educate you right now. For those of you who are watching this that are like, oh no, if Jared stands behind this, then I would like to either support that or I would like to try that stuff. I'm going to leave below in the description my affiliate link, where if you want, you can go shop around, you can go play around on the website. And if you do purchase anything, I do appreciate that. I do get compensated, and your support, even in that capacity, does mean a lot to me. So thank you in advance. One thing that I really want you guys to understand too, when it comes to supplements as a whole, just when it comes to looking for them and what to look for in them and how to look at supplements when it comes to like, okay, should I take this? There are 2 big things that I want you to think about when it comes to supplements. 2 lenses, I should say, that I want you to look at supplements through. Number 1 is performing better, and number 2 is recovering better. Every supplement that you would consider taking comes down to those two things only. Because we don't want to dive into the side of like, will this make me lose weight faster? Big red flag. Will this make me cut a corner here? That's bad. The 2 things I want you to look at supplements through, because there's a lot of them. Like, everyone's like, well, what do you think of this supplement? Well, what do you think of this one? Well, should I take this? Well, should I take that? And there are tons of supplements. But here's the thing, you have to ask yourself, does this make me perform better? Does this make me recover better? Because think about it, I mean, even from what I take, right? Protein powder, does this make me perform better? I mean, technically yes, but that's not the big thing. But recovery, does it make me recover better? Yes. Recovery equals you getting to your goals. Joint health stuff I take. Does it make me perform better? Absolutely. I can't work out when I'm in pain, right? So it makes me perform better. Something like pre-workout. I know a ton of people who take something like pre-workout or a special drink because they just feel better during the workout, which by itself makes you perform better. It all comes back down to those 2 things. Does this make me perform better? And does this make me recover better? And that's really it, guys. It's really basic. Supplements as a whole should not be fancy. It should not be complicated. It should not be this big revolutionary thing. Always remember, simplicity scales, fancy fails. You don't need crazy amounts of stuff. I take a few things that are very basic, very fundamental. It's nothing crazy. Basics, fundamentals, nothing crazy, nothing fancy. So guys, I hope this helps. I really appreciate you sticking around to watch the whole video. And for those of you who are probably gonna go shop around at the link below, I do wanna say thank you in advance. I really appreciate it. It does support me, and it means a lot when people do that, even if it's just such a small thing. Like, it still means a ton to me to be supported by you guys. But I hope you also got a lot of value out of this, even if you never go buy anything. I just want you to be more educated, more equipped, and understand more so you can move forward and crush your goals. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't. I'll talk to you later.